Did you know that about 10,000 years ago, we humans made a major diet switch that would impact our lives in unimaginable ways? This intriguing shift was from being nomadic hunters and gatherers to settling down and embracing agriculture. Imagine our ancestors who once roamed the wild, hunting and foraging for food. Their diet was diverse, rich in protein from game meat and a variety of fruits, nuts, and berries. But then came the dawn of agriculture, and with it, a seismic change in our food habits. Instead of hunting and gathering, our ancestors started growing their food. They began to plant seeds, cultivate crops, and for the first time in human history, had a stable and predictable food source. This change was not just about what we ate, but it also affected how we lived. Our ancestors began to build permanent settlements around their farms. They formed communities, developed culture, and civilization as we know it began to take shape. As they began to farm, our ancestors' diet also began to change dramatically. They began to consume more grains and less protein. Wheat, barley, and rice became staples, and our love affair with bread and pasta began. Maybe that's why we can't resist a good old sandwich or a creamy pasta dish. Who knew our love for carbs could be traced back to our farming ancestors? But this shift to a grain-based diet had its consequences. It led to changes in our physical structure and health. Our ancestors' bodies had to adapt to digest these new types of food. Their teeth and jaws became smaller, their gut changed, and even their brains shrunk. So next time you're enjoying a sandwich, remember you have a 10,000-year-old diet change to thank. But also, ponder on this. Our ancestors made this diet change out of necessity, not knowing the long-term implications. Now that we do, isn't it time we reconsidered our dietary choices? But that's a thought for another scene. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring. From the Stone Age to the modern era, our diets have undergone dramatic transformations. Let's embark on a culinary journey through the ages, shall we? Starting with the Paleolithic era, our early ancestors were hunter-gatherers, feasting on a buffet of wild plants, fruits, and meat. They led a nomadic life, moving with the seasons, with their meals dictated by the environment. Then, around 10,000 years ago, the agricultural revolution marked a profound shift. Humans began to settle down, cultivating crops and domesticating animals. This led to the introduction of dairy into our diet. And let me tell you, the first guy to look at a cow and think, "I'm gonna drink whatever comes out of that thing," he must have been the life of the party. As civilizations advanced, so did our food processing techniques. The Industrial Revolution in the 19th century brought a significant change. It was the dawn of processed food. Canned goods, refined grains, and sugar-laden treats started filling our pantry shelves. Convenience took precedence over nutrition. But the plot thickens in the 20th century. Amid the rise of fast food culture and the prevalence of processed food, an interesting trend emerged. People began to realize the impact of diet on health. This awareness sparked a push towards healthier, plant-based diets. We saw the rise of organic farming, farm-to-table movement, and veganism. Healthy eating was no longer a fad, it became a lifestyle. In the midst of these dietary shifts, remember to savor the taste of knowledge by pressing the like button and subscribing for more such enlightening content. Who knew history could be so delicious? Isn't it fascinating how our meals have evolved just as much as we have? While our diet changes have been revolutionary, they haven't always been for the best. Our shift from a hunter-gatherer diet to a more processed, carbohydrate-rich one has had some significant health implications. It's like we've swapped our spears and bows for forks and spoons, but our bodies are struggling to keep up with the menu changes. Let's take a look at chronic diseases, for example. A century ago, these were almost unheard of. Now, they're as common as a cold, and our diet is a major culprit. Obesity and diabetes, once rare, have become global epidemics. We've traded in lean meats and fresh fruits for processed foods loaded with sugars and unhealthy fats. Our bodies, which evolved to handle the occasional feast and frequent famine, are now overwhelmed by a constant barrage of calories. Heart disease, too, has skyrocketed with our dietary changes. Our ancestors' hearts were conditioned to pump hard and fast as they chased down their prey, but now they're working overtime just to push through a sludge of unhealthy fats and sugars. It's like asking a marathon runner to sprint 100 meters, they're just not built for it. And let's not forget about our digestive systems. They were designed to break down a diverse array of foods, not to handle a diet dominated by a few key ingredients. This lack of diversity has led to a rise in food allergies and intolerances. It's as if our bodies have become confused, unable to recognize the food we're eating as something beneficial. In essence, our bodies are living in the past, while our diets are firmly rooted in the present. This disconnect has led to a host of health problems, from obesity to heart disease, diabetes to food allergies. We thought we were clever, changing our diet to make life easier, but it turns out we may have outsmarted ourselves. It seems our bodies may not be as adaptable as we thought when it comes to our diets. We've altered our food landscape faster than our bodies can adapt, and we're paying the price for it in our health. It's a stark reminder that while change can be good, it isn't always better. So what does the future hold for our plates? As we continue to evolve and innovate, our diets also have the potential to undergo significant transformations. One such transformation could be the rise of lab-grown meat. Imagine a world where your steak is not sourced from a farm, but a laboratory. Scientists are already developing techniques to grow meat in a lab, a process that could revolutionize our food systems. This meat would be identical to conventional meat in terms of nutritional content, but without the environmental footprint associated with livestock farming. And for those who are squeamish about the idea, remember, at one point, sushi was considered exotic and strange too. In addition to lab-grown meat, insect protein could also become a staple in our future diets. Yes, you heard it right, bugs. Insects are packed with protein, fiber, and a range of vital nutrients. They also require substantially less land and water than traditional livestock, making them a sustainable choice for a planet that is predicted to have nearly 10 billion inhabitants by the middle of this century. However, integrating these new food sources into our diets will require a shift in our cultural and personal perspectives. Just as our ancestors had to adapt to agricultural practices, we too will need to embrace these changes for the sake of our health and the health of our planet. The future of our diet is not just about what we eat, but also about how we produce and consume food. It's about creating sustainable and nutritious food systems that can feed our growing global population. It's about making choices that are good for us and good for our planet. So as we look ahead, we see a future where our plates might be filled with a mix of familiar and novel foods. We might see a world where the phrase, "you are what you eat," takes on a whole new meaning. Who knows, in a few decades, we might all be munching on lab-grown burgers and insect protein bars. Our dietary journey has been a long and winding one, with many twists and turns. We've traced the footsteps of our ancestors, from hunter-gatherers feasting on nature's bounty to agrarian societies cultivating the land. We've explored how a monumental shift occurred 10,000 years ago when we traded our diverse diets for a more grain-centric one, setting the stage for a myriad of health issues we grapple with today. We've charted the trajectory of our diets through the ages, from the Paleo era to our contemporary fast food culture. We've seen how our dietary choices have not only shaped our health, but also our societies, economies, and environments. We've delved into the profound implications of these dietary shifts on our health, from the rise in chronic diseases to the obesity epidemic. We've also peered into the future of human diet, pondering how we might navigate the challenges ahead. From harnessing the power of technology to create lab-grown meats, to rekindling our love affair with plant-based foods, the possibilities are as exciting as they are daunting. But let's not forget, the journey is far from over. Our dietary story continues to be written with each meal we consume. So let's take a moment to reflect on our own dietary habits. What choices are we making? Are they sustainable, health-conscious, and in tune with our evolutionary needs? As we stand at this crossroads, let's remember, we have the power to shape our dietary future. We can learn from our past, adapt to our present, and innovate for our future. We can choose to nourish our bodies with the diverse, nutrient-dense foods our ancestors thrived on. We can opt for sustainable practices that respect our planet. We can embrace the advancements in food technology to create healthier, more ethical choices. Remember, the power to shape our dietary future is in our hands, or should we say, on our forks. Don't forget to share this video and spread the word about our fascinating dietary history. Let's continue the conversation, challenge the status quo, and together, create a healthier, more sustainable dietary future.